Designing a new kitchen is a lot like planning for a big trip. If not done properly, you risk the chance of missing your flight, overpaying for your hotel, or arriving at the wrong destination. While having your trip ruined is certainly not enjoyable, having your kitchen ruined is a whole other story. And I want you to avoid that. I'm Mark, a 20+ year kitchen design professional turned YouTuber, and in this video I'm going to show you the 3 common mistakes that homeowners make when planning a new kitchen, and what to do instead to make sure you end up with the best kitchen possible. When my wife and I plan for a big trip, the very first thing we do is start looking for deals on flights. It might take us a month to get the right flight at the right price, but we never select the first flight that pops up in the search. We make sure we compare flights and prices to get exactly what we want. Comparisons are vital for us to make the most informed decision. A new kitchen is likely to cost considerably more than a week's vacation down south. In the excitement of the experience, it's very easy to select the first layout you see, thinking that this must automatically be the best option. This is a big mistake. It's like picking the first flight that pops up in search. So don't let this happen to you. It's important to not only get multiple quotes, but also multiple layout options for the renovation. These comparisons are vital to your kitchen's outcome. It can be hard for a homeowner to envision a major change for their kitchen. You may have lived with your kitchen for so long that seeing anything different doesn't seem possible. And this makes it easy to settle for an updated version of your old kitchen. And this isn't the worst thing that can happen. If the old kitchen is laid out well but just needs some enhancements for accessibility or efficiency, then that's totally fine. However, in my experience, there are other layout and design options that homeowners cannot envision, and it's important to uncover those options through this process, so the homeowner can compare and make a better informed decision. Your designer or builder should be providing you with multiple layout or design options for the kitchen. Appliance placement, islands versus peninsulas, coffee bars versus pantries, corner solutions, and so on. Personally, I like to compare 3 designs. It's not too overwhelming, but it gives you a big enough variety to help narrow down the best option. This also allows you a sneak peek at the things you definitely do not like or want, plus opens up new ideas for the space that you might not have thought possible. Plus, it's exciting to see 3D images of your potential new kitchen. It's important to work with a designer that will help you in this way. So before you choose someone to work with, ask them if this is the approach they take. Ask them to show you multiple options for the layout. This should be a standard practice, but it is often overlooked. If your designer gives you one option, it doesn't mean that they're a bad designer. It just means they may have given you what they thought was the best option, and they might be right. However, it is vital for you to see potential options to make the most informed decision. Because after all, this is your money. So if you wouldn't select a flight without first seeing all the options, please don't select your kitchen this way. Put my 20+ years experience to work for you. Book a one-on-one consultation with me to chat about your kitchen project. We'll spend an hour or so going over designs, answering questions, looking at options, and getting my input. Sometimes just a second set of eyes on your project can make a big difference. There's a link in the description below, and I look forward to meeting you. Before heading out on any trip, all of us consider what we need to bring. If I had a service where I packed your clothes for you before your trip, you would expect me to ask you a few detailed questions. Simple ones. Basically, where are you going? How long? Any specific activities you think you'll be doing? Is this a vacation or is it business? Do you need an extra toothbrush? If I didn't ask those questions, who knows what you'd find in your suitcase when you got there? You might be setting up for a day on the beach only to pull out a parka from your luggage. No, you would never randomly pack a suitcase for a trip. We would pack things according to the destination. When designing a kitchen, a big mistake you can make is not being intentional with your choices. Your kitchen will have all the common items: a fridge, a stove, and a sink, just like you'd likely pack underwear, socks, and some deodorant. But after that, the kitchen gets very specific to your individual needs, and therefore should be designed with those needs in mind. A kitchen can be both generic and specific at the same time. A generic kitchen may be enough to get by, but it's certainly not what most people have signed up for. And being specific is not hard. It just takes a little time to review the layout and be confident that each cabinet is accessible and efficient and does what you want it to do. And when it doesn't, make a change that is suitable. It might be changing a cabinet to a drawer bank, or adding pullouts, or raising a section of cabinets. The best time to make these changes is in the design phase. So be aware of how everything in your kitchen works: cabinet access, work zones, storage capacity, movement economy, lighting design, appliance interaction, door openings, island overhangs, and so on. Make sure all these areas are the most functional for you and how you plan to use the kitchen. Consider your height, your reach, the key tasks that you perform in the kitchen, the number of regular kitchen users versus casual users, your cooking habits, your future plans for the space, such as more entertaining or renewing your love for baking. And at the same time, be reasonable with what's possible for your kitchen to handle, and of course, your budget. Proper intentional planning will absolutely help you create the best space for your needs. Now, this next mistake applies mostly to new construction, but it can be a problem for renovators as well. I'll explain. Let's go back to the travel analogy. When you plan a trip, there is one important item that makes it all possible: your suitcase. Now imagine planning all your outfits, gathering all your toiletries, deciding on shoes, it might be cold, extra clothes, because most of us overpack, getting all that together only to realize that the suitcase you're dealing with is not big enough. Think of your suitcase as your house plan, and everything needs to fit into it. The clothes are your actual needs and wants for the kitchen, because you listened to the first half of this video. As you can see, there's a major problem, but you might just think, well, just get a bigger suitcase. And this should be what happens. However, when it comes to house plans, it's not that easy. A lot of money, paperwork, and time goes into drafting and approving house plans. Changing them after the fact is more time, money, and paperwork. You need to be sure that the house plan can accommodate the kitchen that you have designed. But the very common mistake I've seen made over and over again is selecting the house plan first, getting it approved, and then realizing after sitting down with a designer like myself that the kitchen you really want or need will not fit in there. Figure out your kitchen first, then design the house around the kitchen. This is the difference between getting the kitchen you want and getting the kitchen you're forced to deal with. This happens a lot. Clients bring all their wants and desires for their new kitchen to a designer only to find out most of it's not possible. Now, by following the first two pieces of advice in this video, it is possible to turn things around and design a kitchen that the client ends up liking or even loving. But it's a backward approach that doesn't put the client first. You might think, what about the other rooms in the house? Aren't they important too? Maybe the kitchen design throws off the whole design of the house. And my answer is this: you got the wrong house design. I will argue that as far as rooms go, the kitchen is the one that will cost you the most money, you'll spend the most waking hours in or looking at, and helps keep you alive by facilitating your very sustenance. So if you're going to compromise on rooms in your house, don't let it be your kitchen. All this is for nothing if you don't have the right lighting plan. Watch this video next, and I'll show you exactly how to illuminate your space for function.